Most of us don't like the dark. Walking around in the dark can be scary, especially if you're in an unfamiliar place or live in a home with small children who leave things everywhere. It's why we often keep a flashlight nearby. Our first instinct is to grab a flashlight when the power goes out. When the light comes on, we can move about without fear. Being able to see and having darkness removed is essential to all of us. It allows us to have the freedom to move around without fear of injury or fall. It will enable us to enjoy what's around us. Let me read today's verse, 2 Corinthians 3:17. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Sometimes we get uncomfortable when we hear the name Spirit. Jesus and God don't seem to cause the same caution, and yet the Spirit, who is also God, is the part of the Trinity that allows us to see things spiritually. Before we know Jesus, we are literally in spiritual darkness. Spiritual things don't make sense before we know Jesus. We live in darkness. When we say yes to Jesus, the Spirit opens our eyes to see and understand spiritual truths. And as we become more familiar with spiritual truths, we experience freedom. We also begin to bear spiritual fruit. What kind of fruit? The fruit of the Spirit. Galatians chapter 5, verses 22 and 23 says it this way. But the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in our lives: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. There is no law against these things. This past weekend, one of the points in Chad's message was this: if we could see what God sees, then we would always do what God says. And if you missed it, jump on the Sun Valley app and watch the whole message. The only way we can experience the freedom to do what God says is to allow the Spirit to shine the light in our hearts and help us know Jesus more. Today, I encourage you to focus on what God sees to allow you to do what God says. Have a great one as you continue your journey of life in the Spirit. Have a great day.